I thank you very much for tuning into That Will Never Work podcast. What if the moment that breaks you is actually the moment that builds you? My guest today, Katie Brinkley, went from being laid off to being and building a seven-figure business, becoming one of the top 1% podcast hosts in the world. And she's here to show you how to turn a setback into a launch pad. Let's talk about it right after this.
Educate, empower, enable, impact. Thank you for tuning in to That Will Never Work, an award-winning podcast where we share inspiring information and personal experiences related to business and the entrepreneurial journey from those who are leaders in their respective field. Now, here's your host, author and business coach, Maurice.
I thank you very much. So, our guest today, she is a social media strategist. She's a podcast host and founder of Next Step Social Communications. She's also a superhero, a parent, a wife, she's all the above. So it's very rare that we get a true superstar that's right now. But Katie, you've been an incredible business and global platform. You've built one. From a moment that you could have ended your career, it could have put you down, could have been totally depressed like a lot of us, we kind of retreat in or whatever it might be. So what did that season of loss teach you about starting over with a purpose?
Yeah, I think that I'm so fortunate that I was able to land my dream job
Mm-hmm.
right out of college. I think that not very many people have that opportunity. And I was I was the post-game reporter for the Broncos and the Rockies and the Nuggets here in Colorado, obviously, for a radio station called 850 KOA. And then this thing called SiriusXM came out, and I'm dating myself, right? But everyone in the radio industry panicked, and we were like, well, now what? This is the end of radio. Who's going to want to listen to, radio with commercials?
Right.
And so a lot of people left. A lot of people went to television, and I went to marketing. So I was the marketing manager for the Rockies. I did that, loved it. And then we were acquired by a larger corporation, and my position was moved to Atlanta. And I was like, I don't want to live in Atlanta. I love Colorado. So I chose the severance option. And I was like, well, now what? I mean, this is, I kind of thought that I knew what the next step was for me. I was going to be a radio journalist, and well, that didn't work. Well, I could still work in sports, and it was for marketing. Now that didn't work. And, so I was kind of left at this crossroads. And I'm just so fortunate because I had a great boss when I was at the TV station. And she said to me, because I was in her office, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And she said, well, Katie, you're so good at social media and the way that you think about social media and the strategies that you bring. I'd love to see you find a job where that's like all that you do.
Right.
And it'd be cool if you found a way to get back into radio. So I was like, oh, okay. And I actually took that, and I went home and I talked with my husband, and he said, well, if you want to try and just see how the social media thing works, we have a couple months, because you have the severance.
Right.
So let's just give it a shot. And that was 8 years ago, almost 9 years ago. And, here I am. I have two very successful podcasts. I've got a social media and marketing production company. And I really think it's because I had someone that believed in me and said, you're really good at this. It'd be neat to see what you can do. It never even occurred to me to try and start my own job, like my own business. I was just trying to think of where could I go get another corporate job. And by having that boss that believed in me, I think it really kind of gave me the self-confidence to just see what could be.
So when you think back on your corporate America job, your 9 to 5, how much of your identity was really tied into that? Because a lot of times we feel like that's all we are. We can't be
Mhm.
anything more, like you're saying, even just thinking outside the box of creating something on your own. But so how
Mhm.
much do you think your identity was really tied into that in that critical moment?
Yeah. Well, I didn't and I mean, like, you don't know what you don't know. I mean, I went
Right.
to college, I got the degree, like, I didn't even really think about entrepreneurship, and it's
Hmm.
crazy to me because starting at 15, I really wanted money.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
would do whatever it took to try and make money,
Right.
and I've got my very first. I did babysitting. I started my own window screening company. So
Hmm.
like the screens that go in your windows. So
Right.
like I would I would go and pick up screens and rescreen them to people, and I was doing all this just
Hmm.
because I really wanted to have more money,
Right.
and because I like to play. I like to do fun things. I like going to movies. I like going out. I like so, uh, but looking back, I this was kind of course I was meant to be an entrepreneur. I mean, in hindsight, everything that I did, from radio to the
Hmm.
TV station to, I sold snowboards, all the things really set me up to be a entrepreneur and to have my own business so I could learn the ins and outs.
Mm.
But I think that a lot of times, and I try and tell my daughters this, they're 8 and 11. And I mean, I'm not here to poo-poo on college or anything, but I do think that if you have an idea and if you work hard enough and you
Hmm.
are willing to put in the effort to learn about different ways of business,
Hmm.
I think entrepreneurship is a wonderful route. And I wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my past experiences,
Hmm.
but I don't think that it's necessarily that linear, like, okay, you go to high school, you go to college, and then you go get a corporate job. I mean, like,
Right.
it doesn't need to be that way anymore, especially with the internet and now AI.
Right. And so I'm listening to what you're stating, because you said something about dating yourself. And so for myself, yes, I remember having to open up encyclopedias and all this other
Yeah,
type of stuff, right? And not having these type of resources at our fingertips. So there is a thing, even though it's a term, but you think of it in our reality, YouTube University. You can almost learn anything on YouTube right about now.
yep,
And if you don't decide to do YouTube, you can go to Udemy or, it's all these other places where you can at least learn something. And then depending on the industry, like some trades, some trade schools right now are free. People are
yeah,
offering these things for free right now. So there's a lot of different ways where you can still make a good living without having to go the traditional route. Because I remember being in school, like all we our focus was strictly on going to college.
yeah,
And so
yeah,
and
and it
so go
it
ahead, I'm
doesn't
sorry.
need to be that way.
Right. And so now when we look at this, because unfortunately, because going to college, or I'm sorry, not going to college is really untraditional. It's
Mhm.
kind of outside of the box. And a lot of times, as you hear some of our elders, when you offer something like that, there's a level of fear. So, how do you encourage someone to get over that type of fear, whether it is not going to college, whether it is stepping off into your own? How would you encourage someone to acknowledge it and work with it? Because you can't get over it. It's not
Mhm.
going to leave totally. So, how do you
Yeah.
encourage someone to work with it?
I do think that we're still trying to kinda transition out of that mentality of,
Hmm.
"Well, you have to go to college." I mean, my husband and I were saving for college for our girls,
Right.
and I've told them, like, "Hey, try and get a scholarship."
Hmm.
But yeah, the money that you don't spend, you can use to buy a house, da, da, da,
Right.
da. But I do think that, you know, especially with what you said, the world is at our fingertips now. Like, we're
Hmm.
walking around with more little portable computers,
Right.
and uh, if you are interested in learning about something, there's nothing holding you back. If
Right.
if you want to learn how to, code, you
Hmm.
can learn very, very easily because of YouTube University or even, ChatGPT can teach
Right.
you. I think that I think the best thing right now, because AI has changed so much is
Mm-hmm.
being curious.
Right.
And I've started just asking AI, like, well, what else? What other questions am I not asking? Like, what else
Mm-hmm.
should I be thinking about?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's, oh, okay, well, it's allowing me to think a little bit broader. And so I'm trying to kind of teach my daughters that.
Right.
Like I said, they still think mom's cool. They have no idea. But 8 and 11, they're all in on what
Right.
mom has to say. So I'm trying to instill in them now that, that they can be whatever they want to be.
Right.
And if they're interested in something, to take the initiative on it,
Mm-hmm.
because there is something to be said about having a corporate job and having the safety net
Mm-hmm.
of, the health insurance and all this and all that. But
Right.
you can build a, a business that doesn't even exist right now,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really just whatever you can come up with, whatever, you dream it to be.
And so there are some things, again, like you're talking about what the resources are that are available. And so I did my research, and I believe there was something you said about MySpace, right?
Oh, yes. It's so funny you bring that up because I just was in my Facebook feed, MySpace Tom and what he's up to these days actually just popped up in my feed prior to this recording. So I was like, huh. So yeah, everything's full circle here.
But explain to everyone how that skill of MySpace, I mean, some eons ago, I feel like it was centuries ago now, but how that has really assisted you in transitioning into where you are now. Because sometimes we don't look at those simple skills. We're playing around with it, quote unquote, right? But not realizing, hey, that could be the door that we need to run through, walk through, whatever it is, to our next step in life.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, well, this is why I try to be an early adopter with things.
Mm-hmm.
And most things fizzle out. I mean, MySpace is included in that. We all remember Clubhouse, the
Right.
never-ending conference call that was going on during COVID. But I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I do think there's something to be said about learning new technology. And
Mm-hmm.
I was a senior in college when MySpace came out. The college I went to, it was a Division II smaller college
Mm-hmm.
in Four Corners, Colorado, and it wasn't cool enough for Facebook. I had a .edu email address, and that's what you needed to be on the Facebook at
Right.
the time, and it didn't accept me, and so I was all in on MySpace. And like I said, remember I was a journalism major, so I worked at the college radio station.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my duties at the radio station was to get bands to send us their music for
Mm-hmm.
free. So while I was all in on MySpace as a social platform, I was also in it as a business
Right.
mindset. Does that make sense? So, I mean,
Oh
because
yeah.
I was trying to find new musicians, new bands to send us their music for free. And so I was very strategic with my time and
Mm-hmm.
how I was reaching out to people, how I was making connections. And I honestly I just took that mindset as these other social platforms
Mm-hmm.
continued to open up. When Facebook opened up, then Instagram, then LinkedIn, I mean, Twitter, you name it, as these
Right.
new platforms continued to come out, I was always looking at it as, okay, this is a social platform,
Mm-hmm.
but how can I use this to expand my network?
Right.
How can I use this strategically? And I 100% think that is why, one, I have the strategy, the 4-post strategy, and I was able to write my book on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's because I look at it a little bit different, and I think that with social media, it's a double-edged sword,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're not on it, does your business exist?
Right.
Yeah, it's just like having a website now. You
Right.
have to be on it in some regard, and I think a lot of people get frustrated by that because
Yeah.
they didn't start their business to be on social media all the time.
Right.
So how can you show up and grow your community, grow your business? And it's by going in with intention.
Mm.
So that's where I think that, MySpace, it's no longer here,
Mm-hmm.
but it is 100% how I, one, fell in love with social media, but two, fell in love with it, but it didn't have it take over my life.
Mm. That's that's a very interesting point. And so Katie, I just want to say you gave a few little nuggets, but I could touch on that, but I want to go back for a second because of people that are listening to this show. Because you stated that your 9 to 5 job was reaching out to to these bands and all that type of stuff, and you being a journalist, all those type of things. And some people might say, hey, you know what? I don't have that type of title. But I think it's
Yeah.
the skill set that you had to provide that you still provide today, even on social media, which is having great customer service, maybe?
Yeah, and I think that no one wants to be sold to, right?
Right.
Like well, I mean, I guess if you were like a big fan of QVC, but like I know on Sunday mornings, that come 10 a.m., the local stations minus, CBS if they're not showing the Broncos game, it's
Hmm.
gonna be a infomercial
Hmm.
for until the next football game, and I turn it off.
Right.
I'd rather not watch anything.
Right.
But this is where I think a lot of people are confused as to how they need to show up on social media. They show
Hmm.
up to sell. They like,
Hmm.
oh, okay, I need to be on social media, so I need to show up and sell my product. And no one wants that. I would like to connect with people. I'd like to
Hmm.
grow my network. I'd like to stay in touch with friends. Oh, and by the way, here's this thing that's serving me that I'm interested in that
Hmm.
gives value. I'm just going to stop my scroll to spend time with this. And oh, who is this person? Oh,
Right.
what does this product do? All right, I'm willing to leave social media to go one step further here because they answered a problem I
Mm.
didn't even know I had because I was showing up to connect and build my community. So I think if you show up intentionally and say, okay, this is what this social media post is about. This
Hmm.
is who it's for. This is who I'm helping. And here it is. It's going to make more people convert because
Hmm.
again, you're not just showing up all the time like, hey, new house for sale or just listed or just like just no one okay, cool.
Right, right. That's funny. And so you're suggesting for people to stop the doom scroll, go on there with a
Yes.
purpose,
Yeah.
because a lot of times we spend a lot of time on social media, but like I think I heard something that you had said before that social media has become the new TV, right?
Hmm.
And so we're looking for entertainment through social media without understanding like we can use it for a real purpose to better ourselves moving forward.
Yeah.
So even in that, how does that relate to the book that you've created? Now, I don't need you to go through every step because we
Yeah.
need
Yeah.
to make sure that people go buy the book, y'all. Go buy the book.
Yeah.
So just
Yeah.
go
Check
buy the
out the
book.
book. I mean, it's designed so the book is all about how where social media started,
Hmm.
where it's going now, where I see it going, especially with all this AI and Web3 is still around, and so I mean, how can you show up and build, create posts that people actually care about. And
Hmm.
it's by posting with intention and just the different cultures that exist on all these different platforms. I mean,
Right.
you show up on TikTok different than you do on LinkedIn,
Right.
right? You show
Hmm.
up different on Facebook than you do on Twitter, so
Hmm.
or X or whatever. But I mean, like there's different cultures, and you can't just copy and paste. You
Hmm.
don't need to be on all of them. Just create content that people will care about on the platforms that you enjoy being on, and I promise you that your business will grow, your social media will grow, your community will grow. That's really what the book's about, is getting back
Hmm.
to what social media was originally intended for, which was community, finding our friends, finding our tribe.
And I think sometimes, and I only can speak about myself in the past, where I would go into social media and I would compare myself to
Oh yeah.
everyone else, right? I get caught up into that. Hey, you know what? This podcast over here is doing this and they're doing that, and should I get onto video and all that type of stuff? Because those are things that you hear. Oh wow, you know what? I should post 7 to 20 times a day, and use the same post across every platform, but you just kind of
Yep.
debunked that a little bit, Katie.
Well, and I mean, i- if you can see the same, like, and I'm not saying that you need to, create a whole bunch of new content for every
Hmm.
single platform, but I mean, if you think about it, there's different ways of creating content on all these platforms. On LinkedIn, there's articles and newsletters.
Yeah.
On Facebook, there's like those bold color sentence, with a different colored
Hmm.
background. On Instagram, there's carousel posts.
Hmm.
TikTok is video. All of them have the ways that create content specifically for their platform. And if they didn't want you to create content a variety, like all these different ways, they
Right.
wouldn't give you the option. So I think that if and I love
Mm.
social media schedulers. We use them at Next Step Social, and
Hmm.
Agora Pulse is amazing. Metricool, I love both of those two social media schedulers. But I mean, they don't need to be exactly the same. Think
Hmm.
about the culture within all these platforms, and your community might not be on that platform, and that's
Right.
okay. If you don't need to just put content out there on X just because X exists.
Right.
Just focus in on where your clients are and where you enjoy creating content.
And I chuckle because I use Metricool myself.
Oh yeah, Metricool's great.
I transitioned from Hootsuite, and I was
Okay,
on
yep,
Hootsuite for a very long time. But again, as you're stating, understanding technology, understanding what resources are available to you, how and
yeah,
even how those resources talk to other apps and all those type of things. Because I've looked at Monday.com and all these other type of things. But I'm saying all this because how would me learning these type of technologies help me scale a little bit? Because you know what? It's just me. I'm just a solopreneur. Not speaking for myself,
yep.
but others that are just solopreneurs. How do I utilize these and still be able to scale in this environment?
Yeah, and I think that I mentioned Agora Pulse. That I definitely feel like that one's a very robust social media tool. Like you do
Hmm.
social listening, and I mean, and you might not need all that. And
Right.
and this is where again I think Metricool is a great all-in-one. You can track your metrics, you can track what's working, what's not working. Um, you can schedule across platforms. They have AI built in, so you can
Hmm.
change up the captions between platforms. So I think that is one, and for the price that Metricool is per month, I think
Right.
that it is a no-brainer for you to use it. I mean, the data alone that you get
Hmm.
is worth it.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And for those of you who have not heard of Metricool, you could probably put as every social media, just about every social media profile that you have on there, one way or another.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
like it. And you get to have multiple brands and you could probably be like Katie one day and create your own social media company.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, like, and it I think that one of the things too, and I do have an affiliate code for Metricool. If you go to metricool.com/Katie, you get stuff for free. But I think that with Metricool, you know what's working and
Hmm.
what's not working. And if you are just posting and not looking at the data, then really what's the point?
Right.
I
Right.
mean, what's the point? There's no point in tracking to see if things are converting, if you're
Hmm.
growing, if people are seeing your content. There's no point. So track your data. That's one of the easiest things to do
Mm.
as a business owner because it allows you to know where you should be spending your time.
Wow. Wow. So as I had stated to all of you out there, please, please, please support Katie. Get this book. Support yourself. Get educated. And I understand that sometimes, we don't want to open up a book, but it's always some great information. And I implore you to really read this information because it can help you in your business. So, Katie, please let everyone know where they can find your book, find you on social media, and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, well, I'll let you choose your own adventure. Just go to katiebrinkley.com and you can choose social media. You can listen to the podcast. You can buy the book. Whatever you want to do, just go to katiebrinkley.com.
Nice, nice. So, Katie, I thank you very much for coming on the show. But I gotta ask you the question I ask everyone, right?
I'm looking forward to
And
this.
again, Katie, use your imagination. There are no boundaries, no anything. My would you rather question. Would you rather choose three doors or a fork in the road?
Uh, I'd rather choose three doors.
And why three doors?
Uh, well, a fork on the road, you can really see what's
Mhm,
coming, and I
mhm.
I think that almost, I'm immediately thinking of Beauty and the Beast with Maurice, and
Crazy old
and the
Maurice.
yeah, the other Maurice, and he's like, "Oh, do I wanna go the pretty, sunshiny way, or do I wanna
Right.
go this dark and gloomy way?" Like, you can see what's coming. With doors, you're opening up different opportunities without
Mm,
knowing. And I think that you have to make that decision as to, okay, I'm opening up this door and this is where I'm going. How
mm.
am I going to navigate this.
So Katie, I think there is a point that I asked, think outside the box, right? Who said the
Mhm.
doors aren't glass?
I did. Because I'm picturing myself in one of those
Nice.
like escape rooms where it's just like, it's all white and it's just the
Ah.
doors and yeah, hey, this is my would you rather. I'm imagining myself in this white room with only one unlocked. And this is the path forward.
No, and I brought that up because I had a guest who mentioned that the doors were glass, and so I've had people to say, well, does it make a difference whether or not I can see behind the doors versus looking down the road? So that's the reason why I asked the question. And I appreciate that you put it out there like, hey, I'm the one that put it up. It's
Yeah.
mine.
This is my mind.
No.
I'm faced with either Beauty and the Beast scenarios or like a scary, white room with with 3
Wow.
doors scenario. So
And seeing that is a true parent. That's where we go to. We got Disney references for life.
Yep, exactly. Which in Beauty and the Beast is the best Disney movie. So I'll just put that out there.
Okay. Listen, to me, most of the stories kind of start to blend together after a while.
Yes.
Especially, and my kids, they're right now they're 24 and 22. And so they are still watching Disney. They just watched Disney this past weekend. And so they're like, Dad, can we sit down and watch together? I'm like, how old are we? What's up?
I'm just gonna say this. I think I like K-pop Demon Hunters more than my kids do. When Golden comes on the radio, like it is quiet time. We are listening to Golden and jamming out. My feed is mostly filled with Golden and K-pop Demon Hunters. So.
Nice. And so now talking about business from that perspective, right? How do those type of things encourage you, keep you creative when you're doing social media posts, when you are trying to think outside the box for your business? Some people might think, oh, wow, y'all childish. No, I find inspiration from those type of things.
I think so too. Like I said, my kids still think mom's cool.
Right.
They're in for a shock here very, very soon that how uncool and how embarrassing mom is.
Right.
I have a wacky waveable inflatable arms flailing costume that actually like inflates. And I wear it outside for the garage sales, like to get people to stop and slow down. So, they're going to think that that's pretty uncool soon. But for right now, like, I think there's something to be said about staying young at heart.
And then they'll realize that's great advertisement.
Yes, it is. People stop, they slow down, they say, hey, I just had to pull it over because you're out here. And I'm like, hey, well, come buy my junk.
Right. Nice. So Katie, Bob, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I've been looking forward to this.
Sure, same here. And I thank each and every one of you for listening to That Will Never Work podcast. There are some thoughts that I would like to leave with you real quick, though. Think of a moment that felt like an ending, and you ask yourself, what lesson or opportunity was hidden inside of it? Also, use your voice this week, whether it's a post, a podcast, or a pitch. Share your story because your next breakthrough is waiting on your boldness. Because when life says you're done, purpose whispers, you're just getting started. I thank you very much for listening today.
Thanks for listening. Follow Maurice Chisholm on social media to stay connected and check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, that will never work. Or will it?